Hey, Ideal Protein Nation. Are you out there? Man, we are in full production this month. I am bringing to you another blockbuster episode, another returning guest today. I think you're going to love the show that we've got for you. I hope that everybody, all of our newcomers who have been just joining us over the past couple of weeks and months, that you're going back through all of the old episodes because, again, the reason I'm doing this is because every pound has a story and every story needs to be told. That's been a saying in Ideal Protein ever since its beginning from our founder, Dr. Tran. And this episode certainly represents an incredible story and just a great example of that. So for those of you who might be joining us for the first time and aren't familiar with the Life Possible podcast, let me just tell you that I started the Life Possible podcast back in May of 2020 to spotlight successful clients, coaches, and clinic owners who have used the Ideal Protein protocol to reset their body, reset their mind, and actually reset what's possible for their life. These individuals are pursuing goals and dreams that they thought were dead and gone. They're pursuing goals and dreams they didn't even know they had. And in some cases, they're pursuing goals and dreams they never even knew they wanted to. In short, they're living what we in Ideal Protein Nation like to call life possible. So who am I and why did I decide to actually do this? Well, my name is Dr. John Barnes. So I tell you what, there's really no easy way to put it. 7 years ago, I found myself fat, sick, and depressed. And I didn't see a way out, so I had literally given up. But to me, I feel like God brought me the Ideal Protein protocol as the answer to all of my prayers, both personally and professionally. I've lost over 65 pounds doing the protocol over the past 7 years. And through this personal experience, I have gone down the rabbit hole to truly try to understand the scientific basis behind the power of this protocol. And in fact, I have actually used this protocol to live one of my life possible dreams from my early 20s that I was never able to accomplish. Last September, as a 54-year-old, I finished my first half Ironman triathlon. As a keto/low carb athlete, something that I never thought possible 7 years ago, wouldn't even have dreamed of. And this is the example of my life possible. But again, it's not about me. It's about my guests. Who are my guests today? Well, I am going to call this episode the Friends episode. I promised them I wouldn't do it, but I did. So today, I have a returning featured guest, Melissa Hozack. Melissa was my featured guest on episode number 7 of the Life Possible podcast. It is the second most watched episode and listened to episode of all time of the Life Possible podcast. I am super proud about that show. There's so much great science, health, and wellness information in there. If you have not watched or listened to this episode, please go back and do it. I want to see those numbers climb. Melissa has been a pharmacist in Alberta, Canada now for 20 years. She's not just a pharmacist, she's actually been elevated to the level of what's called prescribing pharmacist, which has given her a lot of extra power, so to speak, in helping her clients with their health. She's married to Rob, who also is a pharmacist, and together they've owned Red Cliff Pharmacave for 15 years. They also have been part owners of a microbrewery. They do all kinds of crazy stuff together. So I refer to them as Canada's most interesting couple. Melissa also started her own company, True Me Whole Health, that offers nutritional products that are complementary to the Ideal Protein protocol with her partner, Wendy Eat, about 15 months ago. She's a leader in health promotion activities and therapeutic nutrition for the last decade. She is very well known in the country of Canada. She's a mom of 3. She loves helping people, whether it's coaching and weight loss, supporting them in their own businesses, volunteering and coaching soccer for kids, or helping in partnerships with the food bank, women's shelters, public school boards, women in business, etc. I actually had the opportunity to finally meet Melissa in person with some other really cool people. And we all determined that Melissa does not require sleep. So that's one thing that we're going to have to explore at some point, how she does that, the physiologic principles behind that. The funny thing is, she wanted to include in this introduction that she loves board games and cruising. So that is going to be integral to this episode. Who else do I have for you today? Well, I tell you what, I've got her best friend, Kandace Hart. Melissa and Candice have been friends for years and years. Candice is not only Melissa's best friend, but she's a super inspirational and successful client of Melissa's. Candice has been married for 22 years. She's got 3 children. She loves Jesus. She's a board game enthusiast. And she's passionate about helping people as well. And I know they've done all of those things together. So without further ado, let me see if I don't screw this up and I can bring them in to join us. Hey, Melissa, how are you?
Hi, great. Good to be here.
Hey, Candice, how are you?
Awesome.
Oh, that was not a good start. One-word answers aren't going to work here, Candice. You're killing me.
Careful what you ask for.
So, ladies and gentlemen, what you don't know is that we've had a lot of fun actually getting the show ready to go. And I think we're in for a fun, wild ride with these ladies. Actually, real quick, I did want to give a shout out. Travois.
That was a beautiful hat. Travois.
Isn't that a great hat? Yes. Thank you so much, Melissa. I love and I cherish my hat. I wanted to wear it on air for you.
There we go.
To get us going. So, not supposed to throw those on the ground. So, I would love for you ladies, like I said, this is a story of friendship. And this is a story of friendship, of changing your life, of life possible. And I would like for you to take us back to the beginning of your friendship. You've been friends for how long?
Just about 17 years.
Yeah.
I have to think back because it's just as a little bit older as than my oldest daughter is, who's just about 17. So we met online, which is kind of funny. Online, as in we were playing Call of Duty and different online games with our husbands, and we were the only 2 women who were playing. And I was pregnant at the time, and we played a lot of games. So we had to meet. That was the big thing. And I think we met at a LAN party, actually, like where we actually took your computer in. Like, this is dating ourselves, right? A few years back. Took our computers in and met each other, and Spider Cat and Tommy Girl became best friends.
Oh my gosh. Not only are you dating yourselves, but you're geeking yourselves out there. Man.
I know. That's who we are.
For us.
Exactly.
No, I
think became instant friends though. It's great.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah. Our husbands are great friends. Our kids are great friends. They've literally grown up together, even though we've been miles apart now for the last decade, I guess.
Yeah, well, I've got some really great pictures of your kids together and you guys enjoying board games and having a lot of fun.
Yeah. Oh, it's been awesome. Well, you can see our 2 little boys there. They're within 6 weeks of each other, and they've stayed buddies all along as well. And she used to be my day home provider, actually. So that's where my little guy, Ira, is sitting in the bumbo chair there on her table. And it happened to be a day I got to get off work for a bit and came over, and we kind of joke about it now, but we basically gained weight together. We lost some weight together, gained more weight together, had more babies together, all the things.
That's what friends do.
Yeah. Totally.
Right. All the things. Oh, I think that's so great.
Yeah.
And too, and we've already started with Call of Duty, etc. But it's too bad that you ladies don't seem like you have any fun together.
No,
not at all. Well, actually, the one on the last slide, the board games where we're playing Carcassonne, was on a cruise ship. So we actually went on 2 cruises together with a giant suitcase of board games and found places that we could play all our games together.
Oh my gosh, on a cruise ship.
They've been a lot of fun. So, and the one that's on there right now is
the picture with our girls.
Yeah.
That was in Moose Jaw. It was a board gaming weekend with our daughters.
That's right. Yeah, the one before that. And then the Rockstar one, Candace had a birthday Rockstar party. So, of course, we all had to dress up. We did what was it called now? the Rock Band, I think it was. They had Rock Band in the church on the top, on the big screen up there. So we did our Rock Band with our, I think people were singing. We had guitar, we had drums,
Oh
everything
my
in there.
God.
Yeah, we've had a lot of
That
fun.
sounds like so much fun.
Yeah, you'd love it.
No, seriously, you know I'd be right in, right?
I know, you like your rock bands.
So yeah, no, absolutely. So here's the thing, right? I think it's so neat that you've known each other for so long. And Candice, you were friends with Melissa before she actually did her first ideal protein protocol weight loss, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I remember when she was looking into it and talking about it and really interested, and then she started and just kind of watched her change from the outside. So that was pretty neat.
Yeah, I bet that was really pretty cool. Again, because Melissa, how many pounds did you lose that time?
I lost 100 pounds in that first 7 months, which is crazy to think back now. I was looking for something just to help myself out, somewhat. I didn't realize I had 100 pounds to lose, but 100 pounds later, it was pretty amazing. And Candice came on board fairly quickly as one of my first pilot people, I think, way back when. That's June of 2013, something like that. One of my very first people. And had done very well at that time too, if I remember right.
Yeah, I lost about 30 pounds because we had done like a boot camp where we had the restricted calories. They didn't talk anything about the macros or what we were eating. It's just, this is all you can eat. And we did the workouts and it worked okay for us. But as soon as we quit, we gained the weight back again.
Yeah, totally. And I think we'd done that one boot camp going into one of our cruises, actually. So we're like, we got to lose this weight. We got to get there. We'll make it work. And of course, just came right back again afterwards anyway, because we didn't have that ongoing plan, right? So that's where it's different now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then seeing your best friend melt in front of your eyes, I mean, 100 pounds in 7 months is absolutely insane, right?
It was super fast.
Yeah.
That must have been, that must have been absolutely amazing. And so then you said that she was actually one of your initial people to go through the protocol as you were getting it started in the pharmacy.
And I'm sure I hardly knew what I was doing. I feel like at the time, when I look back, I hardly had any add-on products. I didn't have all the extra syrups and sweeteners and everything else that we could use along with it. So I feel like it was probably very boring at the time, but we all did really well with it. So totally different protocol. And she would send me her weigh-ins and everything by, I think we had Excel spreadsheets back then. We didn't use the app or anything else otherwise. And I just have her measurements and her numbers and everything else that she went through. And that was totally different for this time around, though, because if we look at what we did this time around, we've got our snap streaks going now, too, which I think we're about to hit 700 tomorrow, if I remember right. 700 snaps in a row.
I'm sorry. For those of us who are uneducated in Snapchat, could you explain what is a snap streak?
For a snap streak to happen, you have to send a picture to each other. So it just can't be a one-sided relationship. You have to send them back and forth. And each day you get a flame that shows that you've had so many days of your snap streak. And we actually lost our first one. I don't know how many we would have because we were together in the same room and we forgot to snap each other.
We're actually together. So I believe it's the same time because with my daughter, I have 835 snap streaks. I'm just checking on my phone. And Candice and I were actually exactly the same as that. And then that weekend we were in Moose Jaw playing board games together. We forgot to snap each other because we were literally right there with each other, but we didn't snap each other. So we're back to the 700, I should say.
Wow. And also, for those of us who are south of your border, can you explain names like Moose Jaw? Where
Barely.
Is that a bar? Is that what is Moose Jaw?
It's a town. Because our towns are about 9 hours apart, and Moose Jaw is kind of the halfway point. So I'm in Medicine Hat, and she's in Swan River, and halfway between in Saskatchewan, we've got Moose Jaw.
I absolutely love it. There is going to come a time where I have got to tour Canada, and especially that part because it sounds beautiful. And then we've got a friend in Salmon Arm, right? I mean,
Cindy out there. There's some great names for sure.
I wanted to dig into though, because being best friends like this, watching your best friend melt away doing this protocol, and then she's going to start teaching it and having it in her clinic. I want to talk with you, Candace, very specifically about making the decision to go through a weight loss program, being coached by your friend, much less your best friend. Seems to me like that would be a complicated decision for some people. Other people, it might just be, oh, hey, help me do it too.
Yeah. The first time around, it was more of a discovery process, I think, because as Melissa was learning, I was learning, and we just kind of did it together as an experiment. But I didn't really go in with the mindset of this is a new lifestyle. This was something I was going to do to get back to the weight that I was before. I mean, I had my kids and I'd lost the weight and then I gained it back. Everyone wants to blame their kids, but the kids had nothing to do with it. It had to do with me and the decisions I was making. So yeah, so the first time around, that was more of that kind of relationship. And then the second time I started, it was like, I need to do a life change. I'm ready for this. I'm committed to this. And I really wanted to draw on her knowledge and ability because I've seen her coach for years and years and seen people be successful long-term. And that's what I wanted. So yeah, asking your best friend to do that, it's good and bad in some ways because it puts some pressure, to be honest. I mean, we're honest about lots of things, but you know, when she has to ask the hard questions, you have to keep the friendship, and the coaching. And I think we're both mature enough and know each other well enough that it worked really, really well, I think.
Totally.
You know, and again, you and I had a conversation when we were preparing for the show about those things in that relationship. And I love the way that you described Melissa's coaching style, right? Or you enjoyed her ability to tell the truth in a way that's caring, right?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's key. And, you know, she genuinely wants me, and not only me, it's her other clients to do well. I've been at her house where we're playing a game and she's waiting on her turn because she's got a client who's in trouble or who has a question, and it's someone who really needs it in the moment. So she'll care and input as much as someone's willing to draw from her. And so I appreciated that resource, and without it, I don't think I would have been successful.
Yeah, I think that's one of the hardest lines to walk, and I'm sure that Melissa walks it amazingly. Trying to be, you know, again, firm with things, right? Tough love, etc. But saying it in a caring way. Melissa, can you expound a little bit upon your approach for that?
I think that's one thing I've always tried to aim for, actually, in that, you know, when I first started with Ideal Protein, they always said, like, don't be the person's friend, you're their coach. And I always had a really tough time with that, actually, because when you've coached people, you know what it looks like when you're in the room with them. This is my coaching room right here. When I'm in the room with them, it's very personal, it's very intimate. You know what they're doing day to day. And I feel like I'm drawn into their lives because it's such a big portion of what they're doing with it that I'm going to be your friend. I'm going to take you by the hand. I might have to tap it once in a while if you're not doing it quite right, but I want to do it in a way that's going to teach you of what's going to happen going forward, or why, if you feel like you're going off the rails, of what some people say, that we can try to correct that next time or prepare for it better so that you're going to be more successful in it. Because I think, I don't know, if people are doing better, it's going to make them feel better. It's going to make them talk about you better, which is going to in turn tell their friends, and then they're going to come to see you and they're going to do better. And everybody's just happy. Feeling better. They're just feeling better. That's a big thing. We're all better. That was actually one big line when I had a concussion 3 years ago, and I'd gone to the doctor at one point, and all they said was, you know, take these pills and you'll be fine. But I was at the point where I actually couldn't even write my name because it was so bad. And I decided when I left that doctor that day, I had a hashtag be better, and I was going to be better all the way through. So I've actually come back to that a lot, where I'm like, if we could just do better, we would all be better. So. And doing that with Candice, I mean, she took whatever I used that week and say, you know what, how about we try this instead? We'll try the bread for this one. We'll try this recipe, whatever it was, to make it work. And she would do it. So it worked out really well. And she did really well with it. So I was actually going to share one thing she said.
Please.
A little bit. So this was about 5 weeks in, though, and she had said, I was trying to get back to that feisty self. That's my true personality, being a mom and working and all the other things that have just worn me down. She was close to finishing her CFP education, and she needed that access to drive again and get through it all. And I just find some of those things just so inspiring. But she didn't just leave it at that. She says, I'd love to find my way and help other women do that too. It's something that we don't have enough support for in our society. So yes, I'm sharing your private words in here, but they're amazing and inspiring, and I love them. And I said, like, you're loved, my dear. I don't know where I'd be without you. Like, to be able to do these things together and share those things and learn and grow, it's been awesome. That's all I can say. I'm gonna cry.
Oh my God. I'm gonna cry. Good Lord, you're killing me here. But I think this is so neat. And both of you are just such neat ladies. I want to dig in a little bit to, again, you share that passion for helping others. You share, it spills over. You've coached soccer or volleyball together, right? Is that?
She does volleyball. I do soccer.
Okay. Okay. But I also want to try to dig into that word feisty. I have a hard time believing that there's any feistiness in Kansas.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I keep it hidden down. And so we joke because I live in Manitoba and they're all super nice people here. And so I had to be a lot more careful what I say because I realized my feisty sometimes wasn't very nice. And so I had to grow in that a little bit. So yeah, but just that drive to succeed, but then to also bring along others. And I think when we're young, we're taught to, drive to succeed and drive to win. And it doesn't matter what happens to others. And that's not okay. So then how can we drive to succeed and bring others with us or push them beyond us? And that's, for me, if I can find ways to do that, like what Melissa did with me, that's just amazing.
Wow. That is a mind-blowing. That is a mind-blowing quote that I am literally going to write down after the show, and I'm going to use that. That absolutely that sums up. That literally sums up, number one, kind of how we run our office, how we coach our clients. I kind of feel like it's a spirit that we're starting to develop inside Ideal Protein as well. So thank you for that, Candice. Absolutely amazing. We're getting great stuff out of Candice.
Not one-word answers.
Not well, again, you got to draw it out though, and I'm determined to make her feisty. I'm determined to make her feisty by the end of the show. We're going to poke the bear a little bit.
Just start talking about a board game. We'll get there.
You guys don't do this Catan thing, do you? What is that all about?
Come on now. That's the starting level.
That was kind of like the starting point for us. We started with Catan. I think I was actually pregnant and playing that one at your mom's house, if I remember right.
There was a bug that flew in the window and you almost went into labor because you were laughing so hard. It was a massive bug.
I don't know what this bug was, but it was giant and it was crazy. I think it was Catan that we were playing. It was some of our very first board games like that.
Yeah.
And then
we thought we were so advanced.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And then there's this Wordle thing, but I'm sure you guys are doing the one where there's 4 words.
Oh yeah. That's just one word. That's too easy. Yeah.
So the neatest part, I think the neatest part of Candace's story and your story together as well, is actually not about her first journey through protocol, which was back in 2013. And I think that the best part of her story will speak to so many people out there in Ideal Protein Nation or who will be joining Ideal Protein Nation. Because of the pandemic, because of what we've been going through the past couple years, people find themselves, and a lot of people who have done the program in the past, our maintenance situation back then wasn't necessarily the most spot on. And people kind of struggle with maintaining that weight loss. And so I think this is so perfectly timed and poignant for what we're doing now. We've revamped the protocol over the past couple of years. We're in a 3-phase system of weight loss, stabilization, and maintenance that I feel is very, very solid and strong. And, Candice has already talked a little bit about the desire to be able to learn more about long-term nutrition, about health for life, and about how to apply all those things, that this is what her second time around doing the protocol for a significant weight loss is all about. Candice, can you tell us about where were you kind of right before you decided, I got to jump in and I got to do this thing again officially?
Well, it was during the pandemic. I was at home because that's where everyone had to be. And all the things in my life that kept me busy and kept me distracted from dealing with some of the weight issues and some of the other things that I kind of went through, and with some mental health and taking care of yourself, and just realizing, I haven't done the things for myself physically or mentally because I coach volleyball, or I take my son to hockey, or I'm doing this course for work. And so you invest everywhere. And then when those things are taken away, you're kind of forced, do I start drinking and smoking, or do
Right?
I make a good choice? Like that's the options there. And so I spent some time in prayer too, and just saying, Lord, where do you want to lead me, and what's the next step for me? And this was just addressing this area of significance and really becoming who you were created to be. And I wasn't being the person I was created to be. And so, that's, that person that's just being nice, just doing everything that everyone expects you to do. It wasn't bad things I was doing, but it's not who I was supposed to be. And I'm still in that journey. I don't know what that end game is, but this process has helped me kind of start figuring that out, and given me kind of the ability to dream again and to think, what's possible for the future. So that's where I was at.
Wow. Right?
I know.
Unless you want to talk a little bit about that, because I'm speechless.
I know. I love it. And I mean, we had gone back and, like we said, we've got our snap streaks. We talk every single day, and we were intentional about talking every day, not just sending a picture of a random post or whatever it was, but we would actually be talking to each other every day and being intentional in, like, how are you doing with things? How can we make it better? What can we do every day to encourage each other and be better and things like that? And it took Candace probably a month or so to actually mentally prepare to get to want to do IP like this as her second time around. And I'll let her tell the story of where that went. But it was about a month or so. We were back and forth, and she kept saying, I think this is what I should be doing. This is the path that I think I need to go. And I think there's probably something every day where we're back and forth saying, like, I'm going to pray for that for you, because the other day I needed peace and favor for going into a big pitch competition, right? And she sent that. And it's just cool to have people in your corner like that. I think that really care and want you to be better. So
yeah. Oh my God. And I'm so jealous of your friendship and the way that you work together. And I actually I'm going to start sending my prayer requests up to Candice, because man, evidently they're pretty strong. Right?
On it.
Yeah.
Right? No,
has a bachelor too, so they're on it.
And truly, this is a thread that's been in the show, and this is a thread from my last show with my Jedi Master Ed Reardon, that we really talk about that identity, that true self. I love the way you put it, Candice, the person God meant for you to be. A lot of times I refer to life possible as the life that God meant for me to live, or means for me to enjoy. Right?
Is that true me, John?
Oh, look
the
at
true
that.
self. That's the
There
true
it is.
me.
Right, true me, true self.
That's
Oh,
it.
dear God, this is all mind blowing.
That's it, John.
Nice
right
pop
there.
socket.
Yep. Candace made me the pop socket and sent it to me. So I've got it on there.
You guys are so awesome. Yeah,
Well,
no.
when I'm going to share this part too, because she sent something to me when we were talking about getting going with this and everything. And she said, that's why I like the name of your business. Whole health involves physical health, but also knowing who you were created to be. Each person has goals and dreams, but often as women, we put those aside for our family. They don't have to be exclusive of one another. It's just having a mentor who walks you through discovering your true self can have a major lasting impact in all areas of your life. So that was January 2020, just as we were barely getting going with what True Me looked like at that. So,
Candace, when's your book coming out?
2021.
Yeah, that's so funny. I've been thinking about writing a book, but I don't know that I'm a writer. And so, wow, little challenge there for me.
Ooh, there you go.
It seems to me that if you just spoke into a what do you call it, a dictation machine, that you'd have a book like that, and it would be so super powerful and so super deep.
Thank you.
And I love the fact that Melissa writes this stuff down. Again, I don't even know how my clients succeed, because I am not even half the coach that Melissa is. She's writing all this great stuff down.
I love it.
Yeah. So again, I love this. Give us the timing and the time period then, Candace, of making this decision to do it second time around. And I loved the way that you did it. on a very specific date with a very specific strategy that I want to try to get across to a lot of people, because I'm going to coach this. This is a coaching tip as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I think everything starts with a decision. And so we talked about what it would entail and mentally kind of prepared myself. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And I picked December 26th as my start date because I knew I wanted to enjoy Christmas and I wouldn't be able to, start earlier. So it was about a month process. And I said, you know what, there's no leftovers. That was it. This is the day. I'm not picking next Monday or something. And this is the day, and stuck to it. And that was the hardest day ever because there was stuffing and gravy and all of the things that, normally I would make a sandwich out of because it's, carbs, carbs, carbs. And that's what we do. But no, it was just that decision. And that day didn't seem as hard as I thought it was going to seem because I had made the decision first mentally.
Again, and this is the concept I want to teach everybody, is the concept of a no leftover meal, right? And I've kind of been coaching this for a lot of people when we come up to Thanksgiving, when we come up to Christmas, or we come up to that. I'm like, look, if you're hosting, number one, you're in charge, so you can make sure that the right food is there for you. But, number two, you get disposable Tupperware things and you bring them out at the end and you say, okay, everybody, you're taking it all with you. None of it is staying here. This is a no leftover meal for me. And or if you're visiting for one of those holidays, it makes it even easier. And you enjoy that holiday. Eating that kind of food is part of a healthy relationship with food in the first place. And it's the appropriate place to be having indulgent items because it's meaningful. And, but we're going to leave the leftovers there. We're going to head back to our lifestyle, right? Because it's just, it's not an everyday thing. That's what keeps it special.
Yeah.
And it was always good too. You always had her husband Cam's support in everything she was doing with it too. He was always really good that way, because I think if you don't have someone supportive in that same role, it gets really tough if you're making two different meals and two different things and two different outlooks. And
yes,
I think they did a really good job of that anyway. So, kudos to Cam on it too, because it is tough when you're looking at it that way and looking at different food choices and things too. So
yeah. And he went a little bit of a different path because he was doing some weight loss. And so he did macro counting. It's just his macros were different than I would have chosen for myself. But he made his meals and I made my meals. And we, I had a little more success than he did. So that's good.
Just saying.
But he was doing really, really well. And it worked for him because that's a decision he had made. Right. And but the concepts of the maintenance phase, which I haven't, fully got to my lowest weight where I want to go, but that maintenance phase concept, that's doable. That's a lifestyle. And you can have the things that you want to have and you can enjoy food, because I enjoy food and you're supposed to. It's not supposed to be gross or boring. And so thankfully with the recipes and Melissa's help, then we can make it work. And I have my cookie dough bars because that's what I need. So
right. Exactly. I love that. It's not supposed to be gross or boring.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and
it's not going to work.
Yeah, it can't be gross or boring. It's got to be something you love with it. I'm a foodie too. I love to have good food, so we need to have good options like that. That's why we have this huge recipe collection to be able to help people with, and these little recipe cards and things, right? Like I think I have. Sorry, I'm extreme close up. But things like this, like we've got these little cards that we give out to people. I've got like Yorkshire puddings and what are these guys? Faux apple squares and stuff too. We have like tons of recipes that we can help people out with to recreate some of their favorites, right? So I think those are good options. I know Candice tried one of the breads, didn't like it, but that's okay. I mean, she tried though. That was the thing. She was experimenting and finding things that worked. And I think that's important, right? Because
it's what you've got to do.
Yeah. You have to look at what that lifestyle is going to look like. And quite often we talk about, as she was going through, we talk about what this could look like with maintenance by adding some cheese or butter or whatever it's going to be by the time you get there. So we really started like looking at those options for what it's going to be when you're done everything as well. And I do that right from the beginning with everybody. Some people think it's kind of crazy because you're talking about delicious cheese that you can't have in phase one, but it's coming. It's going to be something that you look forward to later on in life, putting into those macros and see what they look like later on. So
we have to have hope, right? And so what does hope look like? And it's not going to be cheeseburgers and fries all the time, but it's, we can eat these good foods. And if you start thinking about those foods as good foods when you're in phase one, then those become the treats, right? So that mind mindset shifts into what's healthy, what's a good choice. And I mean, I'm still in process. I'm talking these things to myself, but you know what? Okay, this is, and when I came off, you know, if I did a week for camping, like I didn't feel good. And I was like, and so, but I'm eating the food because I like the taste of the food. But then I go back, you know what? I'll take a steak with butter and garlic and shrimp. That tastes good. So my mindset is shifted to what's good food. And that's what we have to do in the process. So starting from the beginning, yeah, you can't have them, but this is what you can have in the future. And this is what's going to be good for you. And you're going to feel amazing. You'll be better.
You'll be better. Right?
There you go.
Candice, are you coaching yet? Has Melissa got you on part of her team yet? I mean, come on. She
actually asked about coaching. I was going through my emails going back. She actually asked about coaching like the first time around back in 2014 even. Like, what does it take to be a coach? What does it look like? And she's living way far up, so I can't really use her for here. But
I see a second location. I mean,
yeah, right? I know.
No, you bring up a great point, Candice, and I did. I wanted to try to highlight as we're going through this a little bit more about doing it the second time around, coming in now. If you've stayed away from the program and for whatever reason, whether it's mental, emotional, or what have you, come back to the program, reconnect with your coach, reconnect with your clinic, and have them take you through phase 1, 2, and 3 now and learn that piece. Phase 2, we have so much fun with phase 2. I think it's almost the most fun phase now. And the way I like to describe it to my people, we take that sheet of ideal foods with the proteins and the fats and those first complex carbs that we may or may not include in our nutrition, and get them, like you said, get them excited about what's coming, and just really, we are all creatures of habit when it comes right down to it, right? And we all eat the same stuff every week. I mean, when you think about it, we eat the same 15 foods, and if we get to go out to dinner somewhere, we might shake it up a little bit, right? So I always say, look, the goal of phase 2 is to create your macro code, but also establish your 15 foundational foods, I kind of call it because I like alliteration. And I want those foods to be fun. So we're going to pick all the foods on this sheet that you're excited about working into your lifestyle that can be a part of your regular life. And cheese and nuts are part of them, right?
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah.
I did want to point out, like when she talks about going off plan like that, it was always a very intentional thing when we would plan it out when she would do that.
Yes.
So we had done, she had started December 26th. We had actually started a big Hunger Games challenge in the clinic shortly after that. And she knew it was coming because I talked to her about it and I planned all these things out. It was a big 12-week thing where you're partnered up with somebody. We got districts, we got challenges, we got all kinds of fun stuff. She was determined to start beforehand, which was great, even though she didn't have like the bigger loss right in the beginning to be able to be the ultimate winner. But I think she still came 4th place, I think it was, out of just about 100 people or over 100 people, which was amazing in itself. But
absolutely
to it, knowing that like she had an Easter plan, I think was the first break. Oh yeah, there she is. So she stuck to it right through the whole entire Hunger Games, plus her a couple of weeks ahead of time. And when she had a plan for what she wanted to go off plan for, or if she was going away, we'd always talk about it ahead of time so that she had a plan going into it, even a planned deviation as it was when she was done the 12-week challenge like that. So that's where she was saying she went off plan, knowing exactly what she wanted to have for that dinner. And literally same thing again, I'm not having the leftovers. I was getting right back on it sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then as she went through, and I think it was 60 pounds by the end of it, correct me if I'm wrong, about 60 pounds, then it got to be where she had that camping trip coming up in the summer. And that was her kind of goal date for being able to go off for that summer, planned activity kind of thing. So it was perfect. If I had every client doing that, we would all be better. Let me tell you. So,
and I love that concept of the planned deviation. And we have used that whenever we come up to a holiday, Thanksgiving or like I said, the ability to coach a planned deviation, and it's a win instead of a loss, right? It's like, okay, well, we planned for you to do X, Y, and Z. And if you stuck to X, Y, and Z, and then we just rolled right back in, generally, everybody was happy. It was a huge win. We were able to make it through there and continue on as far as going towards our goal.
Mm-hmm. And it was always helpful with a coach because she would ask me, like, is it worth it? This is going to cost you time. This is going to cost you money, because it's the food, and so is this really worth it to you? Let's evaluate why we're making that deviation. And that really helped me, because there's other deviations I probably would have put in there. And then I was like, you know what? No, it isn't. I could do this instead. So having that coach to walk you through your why is really important.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I love that, because she's asking you, is it worth it? And a lot of times you might surprise yourself when you say no, but there is going to be that time where you're going to say, you know what? Yeah, it is. And then your coach is going to say, okay, then I'm on board, and let's just establish the plan, and we'll go through it.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
I think a lot of people get too caught up in, I can't do anything. Oh, right.
Well, she had a work retreat coming up that they were, paying for her to go to this work retreat at a certain resort. And she pulled up the menus, sent them to me, made some options of what she thought she should be able to eat. And I said, yeah, let's do this. And then ask for, sauteed mushrooms on the side instead of the potato. I always tell people it's a little bit easier, a lot easier in my mind, if you ask for exactly what you want before it shows up in front of you, and you've got the bread and the potato and things that we aren't supposed to be eating at this point, and we don't want to include in our plan. So she would do exactly that. And she would take pictures of what she was having and send it to me and say, look what I got. And they did this for me, and they sauteed the shrimp and brought me all this good stuff.
Right.
So it was awesome. Yeah.
Now, again, amazing points and amazing things to consider, coaches and clients, et cetera, et cetera. I always say, if you're going out to dinner, go in with a plan, right? Mm-hmm. Pull up the menu, run through the menu, run it by me. Let's choose something. I still do that to this day. Mm-hmm. When I find out where we're going, I always pull it up first, and I know what I'm going to order before I walk in the place, right?
Yeah,
I'm not quite as restricted as I was doing protocol, et cetera, but the lifestyle that is best for me and that makes me feel and be able to enjoy things that I want to enjoy is a little, I've got some parameters I have to stay within. And Candice, you already said it. It's because of how it makes you feel. And, that's another consideration when I decide to have those indulgent foods that, Domino's pizza, I hate to say, is not worth it. Right. But when we go to Myrtle Beach, there is a pizza place down there that I swear has the best pizza on the entire planet. And that is worth it. But I'm going to suffer some consequences afterwards. Mm-hmm. Right.
I have a great pizza story for you.
Oh,
so as I was cleaning my office here, I pulled out some nicer looking books to put on my desk here. Oh. No. So I always often use a bookmark or like a napkin or a Kleenex as a bookmark. And I'll show you the Kleenex that I pulled out of, it was a book about happiness that I was reading. And this was before my journey here. And it is a Little Caesars pizza napkin was my bookmark. So I was obviously eating Little Caesars pizza, reading about happiness. So Little Caesars does not make me happy. Okay? It's not going to make you happy either.
I'm going to do it. That's so funny. So many of those things come up and they remind you of all these things, right?
That is absolute gold. Pizza.
Pizza. $5 miracle.
Yeah. Well, and I often talk to people about that, right? So they'll come back after the weekend had something that was off plan. Well, how did you feel with it? And they go, ooh, actually not very good. I got bloated, my carb knee came back, I got heartburn, I got all the things. And I'm like, okay, well, that's either your body saying maybe something wasn't good in what you're having in there, or that's how you always used to feel if we look back to when you first came to me, right?
Yeah.
Right.
We don't have to feel like that. You can feel good all the time. So, and here I am 9 years later. I mean, I'm still within 5% of my body, target weight kind of thing, still eating the way I do because I feel good doing it. So.
Yeah. Well, and that's what it's all about. And again, that was on our outline here that we had talked about with Candice. Stop focusing on the weight, right? The number, right? Yeah. It's about how you feel. And to me, it's about how you feel physically, mentally, and emotionally.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. And you have to be honest, right? Like in those moments when you're eating that food, you're not being honest with yourself because it's not making you feel good for longer than a couple minutes, right? And that's the hard part. But if we address why are we eating this, why are we feeling bad to the point where we're willing to sacrifice feeling good to eat the food, that's that mental piece. And sometimes you need to bring someone in your life who's a good friend or even someone who's a trained counselor to help you walk through some of those emotional pieces. Because if you don't address those, you can only sustain that lifestyle for so long. But as you deal with those things, big or little, they don't have to be major, man, it just frees you up to kind of pursue new things and recognize why you're doing things, change some habits, and enjoy life.
And she's a natural. She's the one who's actually driving the show right now, because that was a segue. That was a segue, like right into the next big point that we discussed. Planning. Right. We're gonna blend both the idea of planning ahead, like we said, if you're going out and you check on the menu and plan for that. But you've married these two pieces, right? When you understand that emotional eating is a part of your makeup and it is actually your go-to, right? I love this concept that you had brought up, and I think this is part of the second time around journey is the coming to the realization that you need to plan for emotional days. You need to plan. You need to plan for stressful or emotional situations, because they're going to come at you. But if you have a plan in place, that might make that a whole lot easier, and it doesn't have to include food.
Yeah, or even planning to celebrate. Like I love lipstick. I don't know why. I have a Mary Kay friend here who just, it's bad. She feeds that obsession. And so, but then instead, if things went well and I wanted to celebrate, I bought myself a lipstick, instead of going out to eat. There's because you want to celebrate things, or if you're feeling down, like, what am I going to do? I'm having a tough day. I need to walk away from the fridge and I need to get outside, or I need to call someone. I need to feed a different part of my emotional being and control this, right? Because you can, it's a decision, and you can't say that this made me do it, or I had a bad day. Well, yeah, you had a bad day, but you made the choice to eat the food. You made a choice, so, but if you have a plan ahead of time, then you can make better choices.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, no, that's
any better. I don't know what to add even. Not often I'm at a loss for words, but
I'm like, surely Melissa's going to say something, because I'm kind of stuck here as well. Have you ever thought about having your own podcast, Candice?
I can talk, so that would be good. Yeah. I'm not sure who wants to listen to me right now, but
Well, and I think a big part, we talked about this before, but a big part of your journey like this is the self-confidence that you've gained again, right? It's like you said, you're feeling like yourself again. And I love that part of it. I don't like that you felt lost before, but I love that you're feeling like yourself again. And I think that's a huge part of it, right? And stepping into a new role and, leaving that other role that you had been in for a long, long time, it took a lot of confidence and a lot of, trusting your gut, trusting the Lord, trusting whatever it was to say, I need to do this and I can do this. Right?
Yeah.
All right. So now everybody's trying to be the show host. So
sorry.
Melissa just moved us into, again, I think one of the neatest parts of your story, Candice. Thank you for being already so authentic and vulnerable. Sharing about how you didn't feel that you were actually who you really were supposed to be, etc. I want you to continue on that thread now. Pick up the ball where we've taken it here, and this second time around, after you had discovered all of that stuff about you, how you felt and where you were before, and then realizing who you truly are and trying to create a path to get back to that. Tell us about maybe when you did feel like you got back to who you were supposed to be and what you did with that, because it's really amazing to me. And I'm hoping this will inspire so many people to use this program for their personal transformation and to step out and take risks and do things that, maybe God meant for them to do.
Yeah, it was just a process, kind of just getting healthy myself and recognizing some of the things that I was doing and why I was doing them. There was I worked for a wonderful company for 10 years. They helped me to get my CFP and really supported me. But I was part of my role was doing a job that I didn't love, which was choosing the investments. I was a certified financial planner. I did mutual fund investing, but I didn't I don't love math and doing that investment choosing. Like, I love working with the people. I love making the plans, talking about their kids' goals and dreams. Like, that's, I could do that every day, all day of my life. But to choose those investments, you know, someone has to be really good at that. And I was good at my job, but I went back and I looked through some emails to work, and I didn't love doing that, but there wasn't someone else to do it, or the position was growing and I was needed there. And they said, well, we can't make that change. I just, you know, I wanted to shift the role a little bit right now for the company. I'm like, I understand that. And I went home, and then probably just thinking about it for a month, it's just like, but I can make that change. The company can't, but the company isn't my life. And so, but to have the confidence to do that, like, had I been overweight, the thought of like going out and interviewing and trying to put myself out there, there's no way I would have been able to do it. And so I put in my resignation. I really miss the people I worked with. It was an awesome company. They didn't do anything wrong by me. It just wasn't the best fit for me anymore. And I actually quit without another job. I took some time to just really focus and try and figure out what I want to do. I'm still in process. I don't know what that exactly looks like, but I'm in with some amazing people that I'm growing personally with that company as well. And similar vein, but I think there's more, and I'm excited to see where that takes me going forward. But without the help of someone encouraging me to get healthy physically first, thank you, Melissa. Right. And I don't cry, so I'm not going to. But I wouldn't have been able to do that. And the protocol was simple enough that I could stick to it, and I could pick the things I like, and we can make adjustments that work for my lifestyle. But you have to trust your coach. When she says no, that's probably a good idea to listen to them, you know. And there were some things that we tried and we're like, yeah, that didn't go so well. And it was my ideas that didn't go very well. Right? So I will own those, but you know, she let me try. But then I just learned just to the why and the understanding the nutrition. Like, don't just do the protocol, learn about the protocol. Don't just do maintenance, learn about the why, because then you can make the decisions for yourself.
Is she killing you here or what?
She's absolutely killing me here. And again, I love the fact that, and I was going to say, Candace, it really doesn't fit your personality not to be working with people one-on-one, et cetera. You know, that's obviously your wheelhouse and what you're born to do. And I can't wait to see how that takes shape in the future. Man, quitting your job without another one so that you can actually kind of search for something that's going to be more fulfilling. Scary as all get out.
And one of the first things she did was say, I need to come see you, Melissa. Can I come and help in your house? And she came and stayed with me for a week just to help at my house.
Wow.
So yeah, she's just a very helpful person that way, and wants to help others. So, I mean, what more can you ask for? Come and have your best friend stay with you for a week. Play some games.
Yeah, well, and especially after
my nose, so
especially after, again, being separated, being quarantined, being all that other great stuff. You know, that was absolutely, I'm sure it was amazing.
Yeah, and good place to decompress and kind of just be real about it, because you grieve that loss, right? Like that change. And so to have someone there that can care for you and just kind of let you do that, it's helped me get through that week for sure.
Yeah, well, and again, a different plan other than, you know, just calling up Little Caesar and saying, hey, I need a pizza.
Pizza.
But exactly. the other thing that we had talked about, and I'd like to flesh out just a smidge more before we close this thing up, is the idea of merely existing versus actually living life, right? And I kind of feel like, you know, that's been a part of a lot of people's story over the past 2 years. I think a lot of people have been stuck in merely existing and making it from one day to the next. And I'm hoping that we're gaining some freedom and we're gaining the ability to get back to true living in life. And we might have a different appreciation for that. But a lot of times, you know, just existing in a dead end job where, like you said, you know what, it's good people and the work is fine and what have you, but it's not fulfilling, and it's not really who you were meant to be. Maybe taking that chance and stepping out and living something like life possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, not everyone has the same faith that I would have. There's a verse that says, I know the plans I have for you, plans for good, plans to prosper, to do well. And I think any belief system would say they want people to be happy and to grow, and that we all each have unique gifts and none of us are the same. Like, I look at Melissa and I used to kind of be jealous in a good way. Like, I wasn't wanting her to have bad things happen to her, but just saying like, oh man, she's doing all of these things. It's so inspiring. And who am I? What am I? You know, well, I'm not created to do health food products. I am created to consume them, but not to build them. But she's doing what she loves to do, and you can see it. And so what am I made to do? Because I have a piece to add to the relationships in the community that I'm in, and every person listening has their own piece. And so take the time, think about it. Those goals and dreams that you had as a kid, you know, those are just little keys. And so I've been going back to those things now. You know, what did I dream of as a kid, and what does that look like? And some of those things are like, ooh, that seems really out of the realm of possibility. And maybe they're not those exact same things, but that's going to give you some clues to who you are. And so I would just challenge people, you know, as you go through this journey, don't be afraid to dream, and see who you are meant to be and what you're meant to do.
Yeah, we're just both going to sit here quiet.
Just keep talking, Candice. It's good. I love it.
Candice,
I'll make it funny. I can make it funny. When I was in grade 6, I went to a Christian school that was very, very strict, and I organized a strike where we sat on our desks. I'm not sure why, where we weren't going to work. No one knew I did it, and no one copped up that it was me. So it gives you a little picture of who I used to be.
There's that feistiness I was looking for. And what did I find out one of your favorite sayings is?
Oh, I can't remember. Which one is that?
I told you I'm going to make you say it by the end of the show. Come on.
Oh, step outside the box. Quit break a rule every once in a while.
There you go.
Yeah.
But my kids are at that school now too, so it's kind of cool that it's kind of come around, because Ira walks by and sees her picture on the wall there for her grade 9 grad. It's lovely.
Well, and hopefully they're not listening to the show and they're not going to get any ideas. Otherwise, phone calls. You're staging a strike, and you said it was inspired.
I know where that came from, that makes sense. It's pretty funny. Yeah. I'll give them some tips.
Oh, it's too funny.
All right. I'm going to bring this one in for a landing. And the way I wanted to do it was, I don't know if people who are watching and anybody who's on the video, if you look in the background, both of these ladies actually have the same plaque on the back wall. Here's a close-up of it, just because I think it is another amazing thing, right? Can you share the story of this plaque?
Yeah, we so part of that Hunger Games challenge, we went through the districts of the 12 Hunger Games, just like the movie and the books had. And the one district, I can't remember what number it was, but the district is lumber. So we actually had a client who made up these signs for us. And I can't exactly remember what the challenge was that they had to do. I think it might have been sharing your story or sharing something along the ways. And Candice and her partner had actually won the wooden sign that you can see here, that we had a client make for us and donate for it. And I just love the saying, the best view comes after the hardest climb. It ended up that the other client didn't actually claim his sign like this. So it ended up being mine. And I decided to keep it for the office here. And you can see Candice has hers up in her office there as well. So that's kind of where the whole idea of the sign comes from. Actually, other cool story just with that is that I had visited Jennifer Owen's clinic down in Texas when I was there last month. She has the exact same sign, but like just a little printed one of it kind of thing. That's too. And I'm like, I have that. I love that sign.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's very cool in that way anyway. But really looking at that, like looking at what that view comes from, right? It's not just about losing the weight. It's putting the work in, learning what you have to do, and looking what is possible from that point forward, right? Mm-hmm. So,
yeah. Oh man, so awesome. I love that. All right, ladies, I want to thank you so much for being on the show today. This is, again, another show that's just been so full of things that we didn't even touch on when we were preparing for it. And I love how that comes out. Candice, you're an amazing lady, and you've really given us some inspirational and very concrete and very usable things to get us through phase 1, but also hopefully for people to start exploring their life possible, reconnecting with their identity and who they are, and figuring out the person God meant them to be, and maybe even looking for the life that God has in mind for them. So thank you so much. And Melissa, I want to thank you so much again for being on my show, for being an incredible friend and an inspiration. If there's any way I can become a vampire too, so that I don't need to sleep, I think you and Rob should figure that out. I did want to say that, when I get jealous of Melissa and, how can she do all those things? And I just can't even hardly put together a podcast. Maybe I wasn't meant to make beer, but I kind of feel like I'm meant to consume beer. We share.
There you go. So it's been awesome. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having us here. I mean, I can't say enough great things about Candace. Yes, as her friend, but as her coach as well. She followed the program to a T. She did all the things. She learned. She grew. She made me be a better person just by listening and watching what she was doing that way. So I love her. Thanks for having me too.
Yeah, thanks for having me and just drawing this out, and for all the information that your podcast that brings to other people. I've been listening as I drive places, and it just kind of reaffirms the things that sometimes but you need to hear it again. And so thank you for doing that part.
Yeah.
Right. And you need to hear it from as many people as possible. I think that so many people think they're the only ones that are thinking this way or living this way or have these issues. The more that you hear and connect that, most people do, some are willing to share about it and some aren't. So we are all going to be better people after this show because of Candace. And
that's right.
So cool. Thank you, ladies. Hang out backstage real quick. Let me wrap this puppy up.
Sounds good. Thanks, everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am constantly astounded by the things that our guests share and the moments that happen on the show. Today truly was amazing. And I hope that you've please share this with somebody in your life who needs to hear these messages that both Melissa and Candace have brought to us. A lot of the super powerful things. As always, like, subscribe, pass on the show. We're on Facebook and YouTube on the video version, and then we are on iTunes, Spotify, and all the audio platforms. We reached a milestone this past week, 1,250 downloads in the past 30 days on our audio platform. So things are really ramping up for us. So without any further ado, let me head out, and I'm just going to try to inspire you to always keep chasing your life possible.